Hi guys, it's me, Mr. Bertoch, your incredibly handsome science teacher. That's right. In this video, we're going to be learning PLL edge pieces, the final intermediate level, the final piece of learning how to solve a cube with 4 look last layers CFOP. Well, we are almost done with learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube using 4 look last layer and CFOP, which is pretty phenomenal that you've stuck with it and gotten to this point. You're just a little baby step now. It's a big baby step because it's a lot of memorizing, but you have the knowledge in your head to get to full 2 look last layer. It's not difficult conceptually. There's just memorizing that you have to do. And we'll talk about that in the last video, the one that's coming after this. In this video, we still need to do permuting PLL, the last layer with the edge pieces, the second part of 4 look last layer or 2 look PLL. Okay, we've already done the corner pieces. Now we need to do the edge pieces. In the last video, I fibbed a little bit intentionally. I misled you, and I'm sorry. I'm a horrible person like that. But I told you that there were 2 algorithms. Technically, there's 4, but they're really, really similar to each other. And that's why I said 2, because there's 2 main algorithms, and then each of those have 2 flavors, okay, depending on the scenario. So there's 4 algorithms, but they're not going to be hard to learn because you already know one of them, and the others are, well, actually, you already know 2 of them, and the others are just variations. Hooray! The first case that we're going to do is one that you're familiar with from beginner's method already. So notice that I have the 4 corners already permuted. We did that in the last lesson. And I have 1 of the 4 edges correctly permuted, and I have 3 of the 4 edge pieces that are still out of place. Well, you already know from beginner's method that I need to place the edge piece that is already correctly solved. In this case, yellow and red are already correctly solved. I need to turn the cube so that that piece is away from me, hold the opposite side towards me. And then I'm going to use the following algorithm, one of 2 algorithms actually, depending on something that I'll show you here in just a second. And again, these algorithms are really just a very slight variation of the same thing. So it's either F2 U prime R prime L, F2 L prime R U prime F2, or it's F2 U R prime L, F2 L prime R U F2. And notice the only thing that's different between those 2 algorithms is the second and the second to last, which are either going to be both U primes or they're going to be both U's. So here is what this is going to look like. It is F2 and then either U prime or U. Okay, depending on the scenario that I have. In this case, it's going to be U prime, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to match the edge piece to the center piece. So if this center piece were green, then I would bring the green edge piece, and then that would be U. But because the center piece is orange, I'm going to do U prime. Then it's R prime, L, F2, L prime, R, U prime, F2, and that gives me a completed cube. Now, there are two different scenarios that you're going to run into when you don't have any of the edge pieces already correctly placed. So when you have all 4 edge pieces out of place, it's going to be one of 2 different scenarios that you need to deal with. The first is this case where I have, remember, the opposite of green is blue, right? This is blue over here. Okay, so I have these two are opposite each other, and these two are opposite each other. So I need to get this piece over here. I need to flip these 2 pieces and flip those 2 pieces. Okay, so the algorithm to exchange these pieces straight across from each other is actually really easy. It's M2U, M2U2, M2U, M2. And M is something we haven't dealt with before. We haven't done slices before. So M just means middle. Okay, this is middle. So I'm going to do M2U, M2, U2, M2U, M2. And I have a solved cube. And then the last scenario that you're going to run into is this case. So orange and blue are not opposites, right? So this one doesn't need to go across. Instead, it needs to go diagonally. And likewise with the red and green, they need to switch diagonally. Okay, so when I do this algorithm, it's important to note how you're holding the cube. I want to hold it so that the 2 pieces that swap are on the right side. Okay, so that is wrong because I don't need to swap red and blue. That's not going to solve the cube. So I need to hold on the right side of the cube the 2 pieces that I want to swap with each other. This piece and that piece need to swap. And the same algorithm is going to swap these back 2 pieces auto-magically. And this is a variation of the last algorithm that we did. It's a little bit longer, but actually the muscle memory for it's pretty easy. And you'll get this one after you just do it a few tries. It'll come to focus pretty quick. It's M2U, M2U, M prime, U2, M2, U2, M prime, U2. And I know that sounds like a lot. You're like, wow, that's a long algorithm, but actually it's pretty easy. Okay, and again, after you do it a few times, you're just going to get muscle memory for it. So it's M2, U, M2, U, M prime, so it's bringing it forward, U2, M2, U2, M prime, U2, and I have a completely solved cube. And that's really it. You now have 4 look last layer. You probably need to practice a little bit, but with a little bit of practice, you're going to be there. Those 4 algorithms will allow you to permute the edges, along with the 2 algorithms that I taught you for permuting the corners, gives you a completed yellow top. Hooray! One more video to go. I'm going to talk about where you go from here. What are your next steps? And that's actually a lie because I'm going to do other videos on bigger order cubes, but one more video to go on a 3x3 cube. Well, hello. Thank you for watching my one-take rambling science video, where I talk a lot and try to do as few and usually no edits whatsoever. So you hear all my ums and my awkward pauses as I try to collect my thoughts into my head. If you like learning about science, do me a favor. I have classes that I teach over on outschool.com, and you can find out about these classes by going to my website, which is Handsome Science Teacher, because I mean, look at this face, handsomescienceteacher.com, where you can sign up and get access to not only these videos, because you already have access to those, right? They're free, but also access to packets that go along with them and live conferences with me, where I teach you and grade your work and we learn together. I have an entire science curriculum from 5th through 8th grade science. Also, you are welcome to, if you would like to subscribe to my channel. That helps me too, just because it gets the word out about me.